In the year 1900, Charles Rolls made a prophecy. He said that electric cars are perfectly clean and noiseless, and that when fixed charging stations can be arranged, they would be pretty useful. Fast forward 124 years, and right next to me we have this, the first all-electric Rolls-Royce. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Daytona YouTube channel, and welcome to the Rolls-Royce Spectre. Now, this is probably one of the most, if not the most, significant Rolls-Royce models of recent times. Of course, Spectre being the first all-electric Rolls-Royce, the first of a few to come in the future, gives us a small taste as to what an all-electric future will look like for Rolls-Royce. And no stone has gone unturned to make this the best ultra-luxury all-electric vehicle that money can buy. Of course, it's got the super coupe look, and while many might think that this is a replacement to the Wraith, which is of course no longer in production, this is actually the spiritual successor to the Phantom Coupe, which we'll delve into in a little while in terms of the details of where you can see that. But in terms of the power plant, of course, we no longer have an engine. Underneath the bonnet is nothing. You have the battery, which is situated on the floor of the car, two batteries as a matter of fact, 102 kilowatt hour battery, pushing out 573 horsepower and a massive 900 Newton meters of torque. Now, of course, Rolls-Royce has never been about performance. The reason this has so much torque available is to make sure that you can glide along effortlessly, as opposed to in a supercar where it just pushes you into the back of the seat and off you go. The way that this car accelerates is a very authoritative way, but still in a very elegant Rolls-Royce manner, which doesn't leave you grasping on the side of your seats if you're the passenger. It does it in a way that's very much still Rolls-Royce. Let's discuss the design of Rolls-Royce Spectre, because despite it being an electric vehicle, and we've seen so many manufacturers create electric vehicles that look completely bizarre, but this, while still looking different, is very much recognizable as a Rolls-Royce. Of course, it takes its super coupe form as the Wraith did in the past. However, as I mentioned, this is the spiritual successor to the Phantom Coupe, and you can see that by looking at the front lights. Of course, the vertical LED on the top, which in the past on the Phantom Coupe with separate LED lights, and of course the light cluster sitting below that. So that inspiration has drawn through from Phantom Coupe. Spectre, on the other hand, has two very distinct lines, the line running across the middle, and of course the swooping line of the roofline that we have here. Moving down towards the bottom, we also have this slightly indented, if I can use that word, part of the car, which on the move accentuates the movement of the vehicle, as you can see when the road moves down below it. In terms of the Spirit of Ecstasy, in this particular case, we have the illuminated Spirit of Ecstasy when standing still is illuminated. This particular car is finished in twilight purple with the silver single coach line on this particular car, and we'll move on to the interior in a while. But moving towards the back, we can also see that there's no singular chrome line across the boot, as we have with Ghost or Cullinan or Phantom. Now it is simply the chrome Rolls-Royce badge that we have at the back, so in order to clean up the rear design. Of course, we have the rear lights, which is not in a red color as typically you would expect. This is because Rolls-Royce wanted to be as clean as possible in terms of not having any clashes between the body color and the brake lights. New on the Spectre as well is the wheels. Now, of course, this is a new wheel design, but it's the first time that Rolls-Royce have introduced a 23-inch wheel from factory. So this is obviously only one of the designs, with many others available as well. So, a neat little fact, the first stock 23-inch wheels from Rolls-Royce available on the Spectre. As I mentioned earlier as well, no stone has gone unturned in terms of the development of the Spectre to make it absolutely perfect. Of course, Rolls-Royce is renowned for their approach of taking perfection and making it better. In this case, Rolls-Royce Spectre has undergone 2.5 million kilometers of testing. There are mass production vehicles that don't even go through that amount of testing. So that just goes to show the levels that Rolls-Royce have gone to, from the Arctic right through to the Kalahari Desert here in South Africa. They've made it absolutely perfect in every circumstance. And I mean, 2.5 million kilometers, you'll probably not expect anything less from Rolls-Royce. But I think it's now time to have a look in the interior of the car, because of course that is where you'll be spending all of your time when driving the vehicle. Every time you get in a Rolls-Royce, it is just the most serene experience I think that there is in any motor vehicle in the entire world. I mean, despite the fact that this is a all-new Rolls-Royce, of course, there's been quite a few updates in terms of the technology, the infotainment in the vehicle, but it's still very much recognizable as a Rolls-Royce. And Rolls-Royce wanted to achieve that. They took their clients' feedback, and clients didn't want something that was revolutionary. They wanted something that was still a Rolls-Royce, but propelled with the electric motors. So, looking inside of this particular vehicle, we can see obviously the white primary color leather with the purple contrasting leather accompanied with it, with some white contrasting stitching, with the purple contrasting stitching as well, obviously inverted for the particular color that it is on. What's new for Spectre on the interior, firstly, is the introduction of the Starlight door liners. Now, of course, Rolls-Royce is renowned for their Starlight headliner, which is available on every model, but this is the first model that has introduced Starlight headliners, and there's 4,796 individual perforations around the interior of the car for the door liner, which goes to, so you know, wasn't 4,795, wasn't 4,797. 4,796 was the number they decided on. And it's small details like that that just emphasize the details and the bespoke nature of Rolls-Royce. In the interior, of course, in the past, we have the digital/analog design. Now, Spectre has a fully digital cluster here in front of me with a very nice welcome tone when you get into the car for the first time. The infotainment is also different. You also have a new personal assistant called Spirit. Of course, Spirit of Ecstasy carried through to that as well. And of course, here on your fascia, where we've seen the likes of Ghost with a digital fascia, that is carried over into Spectre as well, which is also customizable if you would like a specific Spectre design on the front fascia. But more than that, despite it being a coupe, it has space for the rear occupants as well, which me personally, I don't have a particularly long length in terms of my body, so legroom for me in either case wouldn't be a problem. But a decent sized adult can easily fit in the back of the Spectre and experience the luxury of the drive as much as the driver can. In terms of the power delivery of the car, it doesn't feel that much different, which I think is a good thing, because of course the internal combustion engines that Rolls-Royce use, the twin turbo 6.75 litre V12, is almost silent in itself, so you don't necessarily miss the engine. So it's almost as if there could be an engine in the front, but of course there isn't. We only have the two electric motors. And another handy feature that is introduced on Spectre for the first time is the fact that when you climb in, you no longer have to push a button to close the door, because who's got the time and energy for that? So all you have to do is put your foot on the brake and the door will close. Another feature worth noting on the Rolls-Royce Spectre is this, the Pantheon grille. Now, on first sight, it might not seem any different to any other Pantheon grille. Of course, it is the same on every Rolls-Royce, right? Wrong. On this particular case, this is the widest Pantheon grille ever fitted to a Rolls-Royce model. Of course, in the past, with internal combustion engines, it is used for cooling, with air passing through to cool the engine. But there's no engine to be cooled in the case of the Spectre. So now it is used for aerodynamic purposes. They couldn't just take away the Pantheon grille. It's such an iconic piece of the car. So the Pantheon grille is still here, and of course air passing through that side will go down that side of the car, and air coming through this side will pass through this side of the car. And of course it is also a feature that can be illuminated, so it looks very, very ominous and ethereal when driving it in the evenings. So there we go, the widest Pantheon grille fitted onto any Rolls-Royce. And there you go, a very quick, a very brief overview of this, the brand new Rolls-Royce Spectre, which is now available in South Africa. If you'd like to have a look at this car in person, make sure to come past our Rolls-Royce Johannesburg showroom here at Melrose Arch at Daytona. Or if you'd like more information, use the contact information down below. Of course, you're welcome to follow us on our social platforms, Rolls-Royce_ZA, where you can see what we've been getting up to with Spectre in recent weeks. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so we can get as many people as possible onto our YouTube channel to see what amazing cars we have available here at Daytona. But until next time, bye-bye.